in my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual.
Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. Now, in today's video, I'm going to basically be going over 6 reasons as to why you're not improving your in Fortnite, or basically it might just be holding you back, or the reason as to why you aren't winning as many games or doing as good. So hopefully this video helps you guys out, because I know a lot of you guys do end up plateauing in Fortnite. Trust me, I do it too. But yeah, hopefully this video does help you guys out, and if you're looking forward to this, make sure you slap a like button on it, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into the video. So the first mistake I see a lot of either new players doing, or a lot of just players in general who want to be really cracked at the game doing, is just grinding in creative, but like grinding like weird things, like grinding like high ground retakes, things like that aren't really as important anymore with the new Fortnite. So now basically back in like season 4, season 5, being cracked basically meant you were really good in creative or build fights, and you could just absolutely destroy anyone, and you had these crazy high ground retakes, and that's why Face Sway was big deal. That's why everyone loved Face Sway and thought he was the best in the world, just simply because he was so good at high ground retakes and doing crazy retakes, etc, etc. But nowadays in Fortnite, honestly, 90% of the fights, I would say, okay, probably not 90, but like a good amount of fights nowadays are literally box fights. And almost in the entire game of Fortnite, like in one game, I probably use a high ground retake once, maybe, if that. Like sometimes I don't even use a high ground retake. So people, especially controller players who love their high ground retakes, are spending 2 to 3 to even 4 hours a day just in creatives practicing your high ground retakes. Definitely not worth it. Like, it's okay to practice it maybe for 30 minutes. Make sure you got 1 or 2 down, just so in case you do end up having to use it, then you know how to do it and you're good at it, right? That is a big deal to have. But you don't want to be grinding different retakes or crazy things unless you're like whole Fortnite, like unless you enjoy just being good at creative, then that's fine. But if you want to get better, like just generally, doing high ground retakes for over and over in creative isn't going to get you there. So now my next reason as to what could be holding you back, or mistake that you're making, is you're still playing squads, trios, and duos, or whatever, right? So now a lot of you guys might be like, okay, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm still playing the game, like I'm improving aim, improving game sense, etc, right? When in reality, if you're actually playing things like squads or duos or stuff, and you're just playing with your buddies, like you're just playing pubs, you're not really taking it seriously, yeah, you're playing the game, but you're not actually really improving. Like, you're not getting better, and you're not actually learning what to do in certain scenarios and fighting against better players. Like, sure, you might run into the odd good duo, trio, or squad or whatever, right? But in most cases, you're not going to run into a very good one, and it might be a little bit of a pain, and you're probably not going to see the best improvement as you would if you just actually grind like either arena, good creative, like actual like I said, box fighting or things like that. That might be really good creative. But yeah, if you're just playing squads, trios, or duos, trust me, you are not improving as quickly as you could be. Sure, you're still getting a little bit of improvement, but like I said, it's nothing substantial, and you're better off literally just playing solos or creative box fighting or something along those lines. Now, I'm not saying just don't play squads, don't play duos, or don't play trios, because it is fun. I get it. Like, sometimes you like playing with your buddies, you like chilling, whatever, which is completely fine. Like, if you want to spend an hour or two playing squads every night or every like 2 or 3 days, that's completely fine. But I'm just saying it won't help you as improve as playing like arena, solo squads, creative, things like that. So now my next tip, that is a very common mistake that I see so many players do, and this is the main question that they'll be like, okay, well, how do I get better? And this is normally my #1 answer, and that is watching over your VOD reviews and watching pro players' VOD reviews. Now, if you guys watch my channel a lot and listen to my tips, you guys know that I talk about VOD reviewing so much, and basically what that means is just looking over your gameplay of where you die in specific games, like arena games or I don't know, like these cash cup games or stuff like that, or FNCS, figuring out why you died and figuring out how you can fix it. That way, if you can fix it, then you won't be making the same mistakes over and over again, and you can actually learn how to get better and not keep making the exact same mistakes. Because trust me, when you're making the same mistakes over and over again, it just gets frustrating and you're not really improving. But if you're watching what you're doing wrong and learning from what you're doing wrong, well, then obviously you shouldn't be making the same mistakes over and over again. So that's why watching VOD review is so important. And I would say even watching VOD review for like an hour is better than practicing like your mechanics or something. Like if you can only play 3 hours a day or whatever like the case is, literally spend 30 to 45 minutes just watching your gameplay from big games or arena games or stuff like that instead of just playing solos or something like that. Now, the next big mistake I see a lot of people doing is rage quitting or having a super bad mentality, whether they're practicing or in tournaments or whatever the case is. Now, I played with a lot of buddies, and specifically in tournaments like these cash cups, I know they are very stressful and very irritating because people don't really understand how to play them, and they're just super frustrating overall. But basically, if you have a bad mentality and you're just thinking like, oh, I don't really care how this goes, there's always next week, or this game's just frustrating me, like I'm gonna get off, I don't want to play or whatever, right? That's not a very good mentality to have. And the next time it comes to big tournament like a World Cup or something like that, you're gonna have that exact same mentality where there's always that next week, there's always another game, you don't really need to do good. And even if you get down like 1 or 2 games, like it doesn't matter. Like you can't just give up and quit and be like, okay, well, screw this week, I'll do another one, right? Like you can't have the mentality. Pro players still get frustrated, but they're good enough where the second the next game happens, they completely forget about the previous game. Now, I understand it is a battle royale, and there's days where I just feel like the game's not going my way, and that's okay to take a break or whatever and just understand, like, I'm not quitting, but the game's not going my way, whatever, I'll fix it. No big deal. And then you watch VOD review, you figure out what you did wrong. Some days is it just not your day, but just don't give up and just be like, even if you die 1 game or 2 games or even 3 games in a row, don't just give up and say, okay, well, whatever, like I don't really care about this, right? Like, no, don't have that mentality. Just be like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna play these last 6 games out, and if it goes bad, it goes bad, but I'm gonna try my best to keep a steady mind and play the best I possibly can. The best example I like using is FaZe Dubs. I think he was at like in one of the World Cup qualifiers, he's at like 10 or 11 points or something like that after like 8 or 7 games. I think it was 7 games. And in his last 3 games, he had like a first place 10 kill win, a first place like 13 kill win, and then a second place like 8 kill win or something like that. And he actually qualified for the World Cup that weekend, even though he was doing absolutely terrible in the first like 6-7 games. I'm telling you, just like you can do good, you just have to believe in yourself and keep a good steady mind. Now the next tip is, again, same thing kind of with the high ground retake, is if you're grinding creative, that is completely good. I really do recommend grinding creative. But if you're grinding like something like 1v1s or something that's not really that important, or like something that isn't used that much in Fortnite anymore, then I say you're basically just wasting your time. Like for example, nowadays in Fortnite, like I said, doing 1v1s for a ton of times is just not worth it. Like you're not, like 1v1s are good, don't get me wrong, like doing 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day, you're still improving your mechanics, you're getting better, which is completely fine. But doing 1v1s in creative, like I'm talking build fights for like 2 or 3 hours, you are not improving that much. You're way better off doing box fights or something like arena or arena solos or arena squads or something like that. Now this last tip is a very big one, and it kind of is similar to VOD review, but it's basically not learning from your mistakes or listening to your friends or whatever the case is, or like listening to other people because you think you're good, right? So like I understand completely where you might be a pretty good player and you're like, oh well, like I feel pretty comfortable, like I don't really need to, I'm doing good, I'm finishing top 100 in cups or whatever, and you just stop listening to people, which you can't have, again, that mentality or that feeling. You got to always be with the idea of always improving, right? So you got to be listening to your friends. Like my buddies will tell me in squads all the time little tips, and yeah, sometimes it is frustrating, someone basically pointing out your mistakes, but you got to listen to it and realize what you're doing wrong and fix it, because the earlier you can fix it, the easier it is to improve and get better, right? Because if you're just not fixing your mistakes, well then you're never going to get better, right? And that's kind of goes with VOD review. If you see something you're doing wrong, don't just like say whatever. Like, actually focus on improving and fixing that mistake. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you slap a like button on it. Comment what you want to see for a future video. I'm always reading your guys' comments and trying my best to reply to as many as possible. And yeah, that's basically it. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a good one, everyone. Peace.